Of course, you've been involved with the Irish as a coach and a player. I know Brian Kelly's not necessarily a popular figure these days around South Bend, but it seemed like in the last 10 or 12 years, he and his staff and players have sort of revived Notre Dame football. You guys have been national contenders several times. What's been the process to get Notre Dame football back to the level where you obviously believe it should be?
Yeah, I'll start off by saying I still think Coach Kelly is pretty popular and held in high regard, and a lot of people that are part of this program and people that he's impacted, myself included, played for him. He hired me back here as a young coach, promoted me as a young coach. I know there's a lot of other individuals within our program that have been here that share that sentiment towards Coach, and there's really no ill will towards him throughout this entire change and process. I think what Coach did over his time at Notre Dame needs to be respected in the way that it is. And look, he built this program back up. He had, 2 playoff appearances, a BCS championship appearance, undefeated seasons. But past all of that, he built the culture into a place where it's really strong. And he built the culture into a place where it's strong to the point where, we felt like we can seamlessly get into this transition because, there's a very strong culture already laid down. And, I believe Coach is going to do the same thing down in Baton Rouge. And, we wish him nothing but the best.
I think when this game was announced, there's a chance for you guys to sort of stress test the offense, going back to Cincinnati, Wisconsin early in the year. Now that, 2 freshman tackles, no Kyron Williams, has that perspective changed anymore? And I guess, what are you hoping to learn most about the offense against Oklahoma State?
Yeah, the perspective hasn't changed. Our goals are still our goals. We want to go out there and put together a good performance. We've had a next man in mentality all year. So I think it's fitting here down the stretch that we're, faced with more challenges, but we have a ton of belief in the guys that are here to play. We have a ton of belief in Chris, in Logan, in Audric to go out there and represent that room and our level of play to a high level. We have a ton of belief in our young offensive linemen. We're excited as heck to see, others contribute and fill in for Josh. And obviously you never want to see something like that happen, especially to a veteran, but it gives more opportunities to go play at a high level. And look, we know how talented they are on defense, and we got to put our players in a position to be successful. And that's what we aim to do. And I know we have a lot of guys that are extremely hungry to go get after it and play this game.
With Oklahoma State having so much time to game plan, some sort of scheme to try and prevent you getting the ball from Michael Mayer, what kind of challenge is that in sort of being creative to get ways to get him open?
Yeah, they've shown it throughout the year. They've played other good individuals. The kid from Iowa State, they had some things on third down to double him. So that's clearly part of what they do. I think the biggest focus for them will probably be third down. How do we get a couple, people around him on third down? The kid at Iowa State, they literally put 2 guys on him and said, hey, we're going to take him away. And, you saw that if you watched the NFL, that you saw that against the Packers a couple of weeks ago. And, clearly third down, critical downs, maybe red zone, that will be part of what they want to do. There's a lot of unknowns right now with their defense, obviously with the change in coordinator and extra time to prepare and what they want to do. We got to be multiple in how we use Michael and make sure that we don't become stagnant with where we want to play them and find ways to create opportunities. And look, if they want to double him, that usually means we got a favorable matchup somewhere else. And so we got to make sure that we're seeing that and adjusting to it.
Hey, Tommy, so I just wanted to ask a little bit about prepping. This is kind of your first experience prepping for a game under maybe a much more defensive-minded coach. What has Marcus's involvement been in the offensive game prep, and how has been kind of working with some of the coaching changes on that side of the ball, Ben?
Yeah, everything's been very smooth. I think one of the things Coach Freeman does from the top down is he gets everybody on the same page, right? Like we meet as a staff every day now to make sure that we're all communicating, that we're all on the same page, highlighting points of emphasis, highlighting different periods of practice, what we're trying to accomplish. From that standpoint, I feel like we're very much aligned. As far as like the X's and O's and those things, like it's not as much of his focus right now. I think he trusts what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish. We've had some conversations about some different looks and things that we want to get done. But for the most part, it really starts in those meetings of saying, hey, from the top down, let's be aligned. And then once we get into the flow of things, hey, Tommy, you got it. And, I trust you, which, as a coordinator working for him, that belief and trust goes a long way.
Hey, Tommy, I'm just curious what you saw in Logan Diggs throughout the season, that when obviously Chris Tyree went down, he was in a position to become that number 2 guy behind Kyron. And now that Kyron has declared for the draft, he's kind of in a 1A, 1B type role with Chris Tyree. So just over the course of his true freshman season, what were the telltale signs that you saw that he's ready for this big moment?
Yeah, I think you go back to the Virginia Tech game, right? Our season's on the line. Chris and Kai are both out, and Logan's in there, game on the line, 2-minute drives, protection, receiver out of the backfield. He was able to step into that moment and really own it. And from there, I thought you saw week to week his game improve. I mean, there's a maturity and patience to his game, like his ability to see things, react, keep things vertical and front side when he needs to, not afraid to find the backside cut for a home run. We saw that early in camp. And so we saw week to week his preparation leading him to an opportunity to play. And, we're excited for him and Chris to get this opportunity to go play extended number of snaps. And then, same thing for Audric. He's gonna have an opportunity to make an impact. And, you saw him, play well in some limited snaps down the stretch here. And, we want to see that, moving forward with, the first group and going against the first defense.